All right, good afternoon, everybody. It's Mark Strickland, Building Security Associates and Off-Grid Preppers. We got a video here on how to develop security plans. This will be in case things keep going with this coronavirus thing and fire EMS become unavailable. That's when something like this would. That's a good current example of why you would want to have something like this. I'm sorry about the video thing. I tried to kill it, but it keeps putting it up there no matter what I do. So kind of on top of my text here. So I'll just talk through this part right here. This goes back in what we talked about on the last video, dealing with stress. Having this stuff written down now will help your folks lower their stress level, knowing that they already have this type of information. You've already made the decisions on this. Okay, if something happens, you just basically pull your document off the shelf and you use it. So knowing that this thing exists, that's really will help people, we think, manage and deal with stressful conditions. The security plan, like I said, we're going to put this out at the Heritage Life Skills. It's going to be a 3-hour class we're giving. That got canceled. We wanted to get this information out. This is just a small snippet of this, of what we're going to be doing. Just the outline for the security plan is about 5 pages. And this is just, like 10, 12 slides of 5 pages of stuff. There goes a lot more goes into a proper detailed security plan, but this is a quick down and dirty that will at least get you going in the right direction, we think. All right, we're going to be talking about governance structure, tribe group rules, consequences, neighbors, weapons policy, security, emergencies, and communications. All right, governance type. These are just some example structures that are going around the world right now. This is not an exhaustive list. These are just some quick examples to give you an idea of what we're talking about. You can have an authoritarian type government, one person dictating, dictatorship type stuff. A republic, what we are here in the United States, a constitutional republic where you elect representatives. You can go with a democracy. Democracy is, 51% vote yes, 49% vote no. Well, the yeses have it, so, the 51 can override the 49. And you can have a council. So there may be other types out there, but like I said, these are just some quick things to think about, knowing that when you are setting up some type of a government. So you're going to want to consider how you're going to manage your group and how you're going to conduct business. All right, tribe group rules. Basically, you're setting up laws. Well, we have laws now, so here again, this is if something happens and your local governance structure goes, okay, your city government, your county government, state, federal, all that, if that goes away, then okay, you're going to have something. So having, whether you just take, okay, we're going to adopt local laws now and use those, hey, great, use those. If it's already there, use it. But you need to come up with something, so everybody understands the common policies and rules that they're going to live and operate under. Here again, it's about managing people's stress so they can get on with doing the daily things of living. How you're going to feed the family, taking care of, earning a living for themselves, so they can, live peacefully and securely. All right, you want to include your group members when you're writing this stuff. It gives them a sense of belonging, it builds a sense of community. Having people giving their thoughts and inputs in this, like I said, that's huge. That really goes a long way when you're setting this stuff up. You're going to have some type of enforcement policy. You want to make it fair and equitable, so everybody really understands that, okay, if something happens, if they get caught up and they've been accused of doing something wrong, that they know that there is a process in which they can defend themselves and put forth their case for, for circumstances from their point of view of what happened. All right, I already talked about here, the consequences. If there's a violation, if somebody accuses somebody of doing something wrong, you want to have a way to have this handled. You're going to, have an investigation process, an adjudication, a trial and a hearing. You have them to have representation if they want this. If somebody gets accused. Sometimes in the appeals process, because somebody could be falsely accused and even found. We have that now in our judicial system. We have an appellate court level, so you want to consider having that. There again, it takes resources to do this stuff, but it shows you give them some thought and process and gives people a peace of mind knowing that they can't potentially be, brought up, somebody accused them of doing something and they know they didn't do it and they have a way to defend themselves and prove themselves innocent. But, however, if somebody did something, they've been, okay, your adjudication process has said, okay, yeah, you're guilty of doing whatever, now you have to, are you going to incarcerate them? Something you will have to consider. Here again, resources on how you're going to do that. Neighbors. All right, this will be groups that are around you. How are you going to deal with them? They're going to be groups around you. You have neighbors now. They're going to be could be groups around you. So you need to, if you can, establish liaison. This really goes hand in glove with the information that Sam Colfer's putting out over Forward Observer. He talks about doing area intelligence and how you reach out to groups and build your intelligence network. And then based on that information, everybody's okay, you need to do security. Well, this is the security piece that they're talking about. So this stuff really goes hand in glove. They're doing some good work over there. So if you haven't checked out Forward Observer yet with Sam, I really encourage you guys to do that. So he's got some solid information they're putting out. All right, agreements. You're going to need an operating agreement with your neighboring communities. Here again, the agreements would have to cover things like consequences. Consequences being if a neighboring group comes into your area and violates one of your rules, how's that going to be handled? Do you guys try them, or does the group where they came from handle it? Similarly, one of your people, they go into a neighboring group's area and violate a rule or law. How's that handled? You need to establish this type of working relationship now. Again, now talking about areas, you need to have you define what area you're going to operate. Is your area of operations limited to your property line, your neighborhood, 2 streets over, within 5 miles? You need to define that now. You need to have some really good maps and define that stuff now. What area are you going to operate under? And are you claiming as yours for, finding resources in your area? Have your neighbor, this goes into really working with your other groups around you so that you're really not, reducing points of potential conflict. What this does, okay, this is our area, we're going to operate in our area. The other group have their areas, and they operate in their areas. So this will really come into important if resources really become limited and strained. You want to have a communications plan or an agreement, how you're going to talk to each other, whether it be radio, dead drops, regular meetings at a certain day on a certain time. You need to be able to communicate with these folks and it's really important to keep those lines of communication open. All right, weapons policy. Weapons policy, oh wow. There's a lot that goes into this, trying to keep it boiled down. Like I'm trying to make this stuff entertaining, but this security stuff is like watching grass grow. It's just incredibly boring. It's hard to get through, but it's something you really need to grind through and get it done. And weapons policy, this is a really, I could spend an hour talking about weapons policy. So I got to keep. I'm trying to keep this like a 15, 20-minute long video. I really don't want to go 20 minutes because it's just a nightmare to upload. All right. What I'm talking about here really is on your community members. Do you want them armed or unarmed while they're walking around doing daily life? That will be a group decision. I can make the argument to have people armed. I can make the argument not to. It's really going to go your group, what your beliefs are, what your training level is, how confident. Not everybody's carried a gun for a living. There's not may not be comfortable with it. Here again, it's about engaging your people up front and having these conversations and making these decisions on how you're going to do this. And going with the ARM version, training, it's huge. Especially if ammunition becomes at a premium, you can still train, dry fire. Just running through the mechanics of reloads and malfunctions and draw strokes, doing all this stuff. Incredibly beneficial, even if you're not sending any rounds downrange, just running through those motions. All right, security. All right, you're going to have to establish security levels. We're going to be coming out with another video here following this one. It's going to be on how you measure risk. The risk is a product of threat, vulnerability, and consequence, and that will help you set your security levels. But you're going to have to set some type of level that you're going to be operating under, and what type of security posture you're operating under different levels. If things are going real good, then maybe you don't have to have as many guards and whatnot up. And okay, you can kind of help manage. It goes to helping manage your resources. Really, what all this stuff kind of boils down to. Everybody has limited resources and how you manage them. That's why writing this stuff now helps you. With your guard force, you're going to have to write guard orders because you really don't want your guards making decisions. You want them following written orders. If they get presented with a situation, they should have a guard order that follows that and saying, here's how they respond to it. If your guards are having to deal with a situation like one of your perimeter gates or your perimeter entry points, and they need help, you need a reserve force that can back them up. And having that really gives your guards a peace of mind knowing that if they do get in trouble, they need some help, that they got people ready to come help them if they need them. Your supplies, what I'm talking about here with guards. Okay, resources become strained, hard to find. Do you need to put guards on your supplies and guard them? That's something you're going to have to consider, especially if things become, okay, if the trucks hadn't been, where you hadn't seen a supply truck and running for, 3 months, there's no fuel available, and you have a little bit of stuff left on your shelves, you're going to want to guard that. You want to protect it. That's what we're talking about here. At what point do you put guards on guarding your supplies and your internal resources? Medical. This really goes back to like with the supplies, if resources become strained, and any people having to go sick call, if you have that capability, if you have medical supplies, do you consider putting a guard on that to manage people coming in when they're under stress? They may be making bad decisions, and having a guard there will kind of puts people a little more at ease, and people that may be thinking about, doing something, okay, they know they have a security guard there. They tend to not act up when there's security in the area. Same thing with your mealtime. This really goes into, back again, if resources become strained and unavailable, putting guards for people going through, if you're doing community feeding type thing, it really helps maintain order and makes things move a lot easier, knowing that people just feel safer coming, knowing they can interact at mealtime if there is some security presence, especially when should conditions become really strained. All right, emergencies. This is a life safety program. This is, your fire emergencies. If you have a medical emergency, if you have to evacuate, or if you have external threats. Here again, having a written fire plan so people know what they're supposed to do. A written plan if there's some type of medical emergency, heart attack, stroke, somebody's broken a bone, gotten injured. How are you going to respond and react to that? Really go see, basically your guard force is really going to be playing huge roles in all of these, in all these written plans that you would have. Same thing if you have to evacuate for whatever reason, how you're going to get people out in an orderly process and safely. If there's an external threat, that kind of goes to the evacuation thing. If you're being threatened from an outside group, how are you going to deal with that? Having those plans written now really helps you manage stressful conditions. All right, communications. All right, you're going to have equipment. Some type of radios or signaling devices. Some type of, you need to have people trained in how to operate your communications gear. If you have your radios, you'll have your frequencies pre-established, and hopefully you can have a common platform between neighbors that you can share frequencies, and that way that will help you keep your lines of communication open, knowing that you can talk back and forth via radio if you need to. You have an agreement with your neighboring thing that goes into the frequency thing, and so you have a common operating platform. Okay, all right, that's what I got right now. I think I'm trying to keep this video short. If you got any questions, I see my videos right on top of the email address there, but it's mark.strickland@buildingsecurity.associates.com. Hey, reach out to us if you got any questions on the information we put out. I know I went kind of fast. I'm seeing them right now. It might be about 14, 15 minutes long. A lot of information here we covered kind of quickly, but this will help. This is the basics for getting you a written plan, and a written security plan is really the basis for your group or your tribe on how you're going to live and operate, and basically your common rules, if you will. So having this information done now really will help you. So any questions, hey, please just reach out to us. We'll do what we can to answer, and we'll try to help where we can.